Xiaomi's Redmi brand has garnered a reputation across the community for putting out great devices that would simply cost more if they were made by somebody else. The name Redmi has pretty much become synonymous with bang for your buck in the smartphone space. So naturally, when we got our hands on the Redmi K20 Pro, we were impressed by just how much you could get for its ballpark price of around 20,000 pesos. So aside from the Snapdragon 855, the hefty storage and RAM options, and that pop-up selfie camera, well, what else do you get? Well, for design, it's surely a combination of form and function, but it is missing a few things. First of all, it's a pretty hefty phone. It's got a huge screen and it's fairly thick, so do expect a bit of a bulge in your pants. The back panel sports 3D curved gradient glass that looks amazing, by the way. This flame red color we got here has that jean gray dark phoenix look going on. It's a fresh look that isn't super common right now. Also note the lack of a fingerprint scanner here, because we do get an in-display fingerprint scanner. And of course, we get the amazing bezel-less look thanks to the pop-up selfie camera. It does make a sound when it's activated. Boop, 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 boop. And it has red LEDs, so everyone around you knows you're taking a selfie. What's cool though about it is that it also doubles as an LED notification light, so if you're into that, big points for function. The device also automatically detects when it has been dropped, so if you do happen to drop it and the selfie camera is out, it will retract automatically. You get a USB-C port and a headphone jack. However, the headphone jack is on top, which I understand a lot of people don't prefer. I personally don't mind it being on top. I actually like it better than the bottom, but yeah, that's that. One thing I don't like though is that we don't get expandable storage. Yeah. The card slot only accommodates 2 nano SIM cards and neither of them is even hybrid. Sure, there is a 256GB storage variant available, but a micro SD card slot is something a lot of people look for in a phone. Other things we lack are honestly just standard flagship grade features such as wireless charging and water and dust resistance, which I can forgive simply because of the K20 Pro's mid-range price point. So yeah, for design, K20 Pro, it's pretty, it's functional, but it's nothing we haven't seen before. Still, it's actually really good. Now for display. So we get a 6.39-inch Super AMOLED panel with a resolution of 2340 by 1080. It's nice and sharp, it's bright, colors are amazing, blacks are deep, and it actually supports HDR content, which is a nice little flagship feature right there. OLED-based panel also means you get an always-on display, and with MIUI 10, you have a variety of cool options to choose from. And for protection, you get Gorilla Glass 5, which is nice. Though for whatever reason, ours got scuffed pretty easily, even if the phone wasn't dropped or mishandled. Checking out audio real quick, the downfiring speaker is actually pretty loud. It has clear mids and slightly less clear highs, but bass is lacking a lot. I guess it's okay to use for listening to music, but as with any phone with downfiring speakers, it's really easy to cover it up when you're watching videos in landscape. On that note, for all screen phones, I think I said this in my review of the Vivo V15 Pro, but the problem with almost bezel-less screens is that there's almost no space to put front-facing speakers, which I'm a huge advocate of. But the future is looking bright. If you guys remember, Huawei replaced the P30 Pro's call speaker with a vibrating screen, and just the other day, Xiaomi and Oppo announced their under-display front cameras. So the future is looking bright for under-display components, and I think audio will be part of that equation. So powering the K20 Pro, of course, is a Snapdragon 855 chipset with an Adreno 640 GPU, up to 8GB of RAM, and up to 256GB of internal storage. Our unit here has 6GB of RAM and 128GB of internal storage. Nonetheless, even if we don't have the maximum possible RAM for this device, performance is amazing. The Snapdragon 855 is truly one hell of a beast. I mean, look at our benchmark scores. Almost 370k in Antutu. So needless to say, anything you throw at it, heavy graphics games, multitasking, productivity, the K20 Pro can handle it all. But that's not all. Keeping it running is a 4000 mAh battery that lasts a long time. I mean, check out our video loop test. 27 hours and 36 minutes. And mind you, this does translate to actual everyday usage. Even on moderate to heavy use, at around 60% brightness, it takes a while for the battery to drain. The K20 Pro is surely a 2-day phone as long as you don't go too crazy on usage. And charging is pretty decent as well. So I'm sorry, I did make a mistake in our unboxing video. The included charger is 18 watts, not 27 watts. But still, even with the 18-watt charger, it only takes an hour to get from 20% to 100%, which I consider pretty decent. You'll definitely want to get a 27-watt charger though to cut down on that charging time. But in any case, the battery on this thing is legit. For software, we get MIUI 10 on top of Android Pie. Our unit unfortunately has the China ROM, but we did manage to install the Google Play Store, so all hope is not lost for us. But yeah, it's MIUI. It's simple, clean, and easy to navigate. Admittedly, less so with the Chinese ROM. There's also a lot of bloatware with the Chinese ROM. But hey, there are tons of tutorials online on how to switch to the global ROM if you want to or need to. The optical in-display fingerprint scanner is really fast, which is nice and all, but surprisingly, we don't get face unlock, which I find weird because even some entry-level phones have this feature. But I suppose this can be fixed with a future software update. So enough with all that, now let's get to the cameras. So for the rear, we get a 48 megapixel main camera, 8 megapixel telephoto camera, and a 13 megapixel ultra-wide camera. The pop-up selfie camera is a 20 megapixel sensor. So for the most part, photo quality is good under bright natural lighting, and the shots are actually comparable to that of the Mi 9s, though still inferior. Stay tuned for a full comparison between the two. Shots tend to be on the softer side with more muted, natural colors, which makes it good if you're fond of editing your photos after the fact, before you post. You can get an incredible amount of detail with the 48 megapixel mode, though note that you cannot zoom in when you're using it. It also works great for night photos since pixels are bigger, you don't generate as much noise. If you do want to zoom in for night situations though, there is a dedicated night mode that supports the telephoto lens. It definitely brightens up the scene a lot and increases dynamic range seen in the image, but it's not perfect. As you can see in the glow of the lights in the distance, there is quite a bit of noise and haziness. There's a lot of flexibility to be had in shooting situations because you have 3 different focal lengths to choose from. I like that the ultra-wide camera's quality though isn't too far off from the main sensor. You get a lot of dynamic range for those nice landscape shots and color is about the same. Though I will say that the telephoto camera isn't that particularly useful as you only get up to 2 times zoom. It is, however, the sensor used for portrait mode, so as long as you have enough distance between your subject and your background, you get a very pleasant bokeh effect and an appropriate look for portrait shots. For the pop-up selfie camera, you got really nice, detailed selfies with good skin tones. The beauty mode is decent at smoothing out blemishes without looking too unnatural, but I mean, you still know something's been going on. And in portrait mode, subject-background separation is good, though at times it's not perfect. For videos, you can shoot up to 4K at 60 FPS. Quality is impressive with sharp detail and good colors, just like the still photos. And electronic image stabilization is present. You also have slow motion and time-lapse options if you want to use them. So final verdict for the cameras, they're pretty decent, especially for this price range. But I will venture to say that this is one of the reasons why the Mi 9 is more expensive. It simply has better cameras. So, while the Redmi K20 Pro is not officially the Pocophone F1 successor, it does have everything it takes to be. It's not as cheap as the F1, but it does check all the boxes that made the F1 so great last year, plus more. With everything you get, the S-tier performance, the cameras, the display, design, battery, it's shockingly affordable. For around 20,000 pesos, you can get your hands on one of these guys, and the value you get is just unreal. So far in 2019, a lot of really good smartphones have come out. But right now, it seems that the Redmi K20 Pro has made it to the top of my recommendation list. You just can't beat that price. So that wraps it up for my review of the Redmi K20 Pro. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like, subscribe to our channel for more content, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads, and be sure to visit yugatech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. This has been Joey, and I'll see you in the next one.